Gunfire shattered the calm of church mass at a Catholic school in Minneapolis, Minnesota this morning. Police say a gunman opened fire on children as they prayed during that mass, killing 2 and wounding 17 others. Investigators say the shooter approached the side of the church and shot through the windows towards the children sitting in pews during the first mass of the year. The gunman used 3 separate weapons, a shotgun, a rifle, and a pistol. The Minneapolis police chief says the 2 children who were killed were just 8 and 10 years old. The shooter is also dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
Every one of us needs to be wrapping our arms around these families, giving them every ounce that we can muster. These were Minneapolis families. These were American families. And the amount of pain that they are suffering right now is extraordinary.
A number of victims were taken to area hospitals for treatment. Authorities say the children in the hospital range in age from 6 to 14. At Hennepin Healthcare in Minneapolis, 6 children and 1 adult are in critical condition.
4 of them require the operating room. And up to this point in time, there have been no fatalities related to any of those patients that were brought to our organization.
Children's Minnesota Hospital is also treating an additional 7 children from ages 9 to 16. One of them is now discharged. We'll, of course, continue to keep you updated on air and online as we learn more about this tragic shooting. Now, Bishop John Keener of the Diocese of Sioux City released a statement regarding this morning's shooting. He said, quote, "Our hearts are heavy upon learning of another event of school violence this morning. We offer our prayers to those affected by the tragic shooting at Annunciation Catholic School in Minneapolis. As we begin a new school year, let us pray for the safety of our children and school faculty and staff around the nation," end quote. Today, President Donald Trump signed a proclamation honoring the victims of the tragedy. He's ordered all flags nationwide to fly at half-staff until sunset of Sunday, August 31st.